There's a general understanding between athletic conferences and schools about membership. The conferences and the schools generally agree on whether that particular school is a member of the conference. Welcome to the Voice of College Football, breaking down the game we all love each and every day with you. Best discussion, debate, and analysis. Let's dig into this one concerning the saga surrounding San Diego State's affiliation with the Mountain West Conference and the $6.6+ million that the Mountain West Conference is withholding in terms of distribution of revenue to San Diego State. Bring in those lawyers, they're going to have a field day with this one. Pulling much of our information from the San Diego Union Tribune and also just the various sources that we've used here at the Voice of College Football for the last several months, we know that San Diego State has been rumored to be joining the Pac-12. And we also know that the reports in the past 4 to 6 weeks have shown that San Diego State has informed the Mountain West Conference that it is intending on leaving the conference. And the only details that had to be worked out were at what point it was going to leave. We also know that there's a clause that exists in the Mountain West Conference that if any school should choose to leave, that they need to give a 1-year notice of departure. Otherwise, their exit fee is $34 million as opposed to $17 million. And we all anticipated that San Diego State would give that notice prior to July 1st. Now, in many of the communications which have been made public throughout the weeks and listed here in this San Diego publication, we see where the communication must have broke down. And so let's target that. This correspondence all occurred within the last 4 to 6 weeks, and now the first 4 letters were acquired by the Union Tribune, and now they have acquired the 5th and 6th letters just on Monday. Starting with the first letter, where San Diego State President Adela De La Torre is communicating to Mountain West Commissioner Gloria Nevarez that the university intends to resign. That is a direct quote from the conference while inquiring about the flexibility of the exit terms, knowing that it would have to pay roughly $17 million to the member schools upon notification if the departure is before June 30th, and then roughly double that after June 30th. And there's actually an exchange here between De La Torre and Nevarez where De La Torre says it's been an absolute joy to collaborate and compete within this conference with the member universities. Okay, we don't have the dates here on these letters, but the second letter is where Nevarez writes back confirming San Diego State's notice of resignation and initiates separation procedures that include removing De La Torre from the board because that's in the bylaws. And then, of course, Nevarez writes that it's with a heavy heart that we receive this news. We wish you the best. Now, it's in letter number 3 that we see some backpedaling from San Diego State, and this is a bit curious because we all assumed that San Diego State was joining the Pac-12 and that they had assurance from the Pac-12, otherwise they wouldn't be making this move to leave the Mountain West Conference. We know that the big linchpin in all of this is, of course, the Pac-12 continues to negotiate a media rights deal that has yet to be announced and yet to be finalized. So in letter number 3, we see De La Torre clarifies the June 13th letter, that it was not the official notice of resignation, although it certainly sounded like one, only an attempt to open the discussions about the 1-month extension that they would like to negotiate. Letter number 4. Okay, Nevarez replies that the board will not approve any waiver to the bylaws, so they are staying firm with the conditions of the bylaws concerning the exit fee. Again, this 5th letter was just acquired by the San Diego Union Tribune on Monday. So the Friday deadline was July 1st, of course. It was fast approaching at this point. There's no movement at this point on the invitation from the Pac-12 or any other conference. San Diego State asserts it is not withdrawing from the Mountain West, which likely means it will stay put for at least 2 more years. Something has happened between letters 3 and 5 concerning San Diego State's negotiations with the Pac-12 or its understanding from the Pac-12 about membership. De La Torre writes that San Diego State has not made a final determination as to whether to resign from the MWC. I am pleased to advise you that San Diego State has decided to remain in the Mountain West Conference and therefore will not be resigning at this time. Oh boy. And then it's the final letter number 6, in which the Mountain West Conference and Navarez play hardball and take a firm stand about the money and about the bylaws and about membership. So the conference states here that it's withholding the $6.6 million of payment due the university this week as the first installment of the exit fee. So basically, your rights distribution is $6.6 million, but we're going to withhold that because you are leaving the conference. And so we'll take this as a first payment in connection with our receipt of San Diego State's notice of resignation. So much has gone wrong here among the administration and athletic department at San Diego State, determining their communication to the Mountain West about firm resignation or a hint of resignation. Wow, this is a breakdown at San Diego State. And then the point person, of course, is the president in communicating with the Mountain West Conference about said resignation. There is a serious breakdown, and they tried to just fluff their way through it. If these reports are accurate of these letters, they tried to just kind of bypass their previous statements and then backpedal into, well, we were considering it, we were just feeling it out, and now we've decided to stay in the Mountain West Conference. And instead of the Mountain West Conference just opening up their arms to embrace San Diego State back into the conference, they are playing hardball to say, no, you made a decision, and we are holding you to it, not just the exit fee, but withholding your rights fee distribution for your contribution to our success, with a Final Four men's basketball appearance, of course, included for this calendar year. Wow, this is something else. And we're going to break this down with a number of prominent guests here at the Voice of College Football Wednesday at 3 o'clock Eastern Time, live with you. But my big questions in this is, what was the miscommunication within the building there at San Diego State University, involving administration, athletic department, everybody involved? There was an obvious miscommunication amongst them. Then there was obviously a breakdown between San Diego State and the Pac-12, and at some point, San Diego State, hey, if they miscommunicated amongst themselves, it doesn't surprise me that they did not receive the word and interpret the word from the Pac-12 accurately. So the Pac-12 at some point said, we're not sold on San Diego State, because San Diego State at this point is in limbo. They are no longer a member of the Mountain West Conference because they handed in their resignation. And the Mountain West is saying, we accepted the resignation and we're keeping $23 million, basically. We received $6 million on your behalf, but we are not paying it to you, and you need to pay us another $17 million. San Diego State's pretty prominent football and basketball program. I mentioned the Final Four, which also brings us to a point where the basketball contract, very heavily involves San Diego State's presence, with 18 of its games being broadcast for the upcoming basketball season, 18 of 18 by either Fox or CBS or their affiliates. And compare that to the second place team, Boise State, or the second most prominent team that is being scheduled to appear on national television this upcoming basketball season. Only 12 of 18 of Boise State's games were scheduled to appear. So the Mountain West, from a basketball standpoint, was featuring San Diego State for obvious reasons coming up here in 2023-24 on the Hoops calendar. This is something else. So again, we're going to dive into it exclusively here at the Voice of College Football Wednesday at 3 p.m. Eastern Time. Be here, and we will continue to work through this. Not anywhere close to what the lawyers are going to be working through, because it's San Diego State's claim that it still belongs to the Mountain West versus the Mountain West Conference's status that, hey, they have resigned, they have left, We accepted it, and there is where we now stand. Consider also that we're only 10 years removed from San Diego State making a similar play. So the Mountain West Conference has had it when it comes to San Diego State. There's a number of reasons why they could be playing hardball to save themselves a lot of money, put San Diego State in a position where they would keep them in the conference long term. So a lot of negotiations are being set up, a lot of chess moves being set up right now, in particular by the Mountain West. San Diego State just trying to find a safe home for themselves athletically in the upcoming years. We will discuss it here in the next day, right here at the Voice of College Football.